He kissed my forehead before bed that night. The same forehead he used to trace with his fingers when he said he loved me. "I'll be late tomorrow," he murmured, slipping off his wedding ring and placing it beside the lamp. His usual habit before a business trip. I nodded, pretending not to notice, because I already knew where he was going, and who was waiting for him there. My best friend, Maya. The discovery hadn't come from snooping, at least not at first. It came from a scent, her perfume, amber smoke, faint on his collar one evening. Too feminine, too familiar. I used to compliment her on it. That night, while he showered, I sat at our kitchen counter scrolling through her social media. Every caption suddenly sounded different. Every girls' night photo suspiciously missing one girl, me. I remember staring at my reflection in the microwave door, expressionless. My tea had gone cold hours ago. I didn't scream. I planned. The next morning, I slipped his ring into my pocket, the same ring he forgot beside the lamp. It felt heavy, almost accusing. That ring became my reminder. He lied with love still on his finger. I followed his car 2 days later. Kept 4 cars behind, sunglasses on, windows up. My hands trembled only once when I saw her step out of the hotel lobby, hair tied in that careless bun she knew he loved. She looked happy. He looked lighter. Something inside me broke so quietly it almost sounded like relief. That night I cooked his favorite meal. Pasta with white sauce, garlic bread, wine chilled just right. When he came home, he kissed my cheek, smelling faintly of her perfume again. "Rough day?" I asked, smiling. He nodded, tired. I poured him wine, the one she had gifted us last month. The irony wasn't lost on me. He didn't notice when I slipped a new SIM card into his phone that evening, or that his laptop backup drive was missing, or that I had started saving screenshots, calendar entries, messages, receipts. Every detail mattered. Every lie became data. I didn't want to destroy him in anger. I wanted to dismantle him with precision. Because love may blind you, but betrayal, it teaches you to see. And as he slept beside me, one arm lazily draped across my waist, I stared at the ceiling and whispered to myself, "You'll lose everything, slowly, silently, and I'll make sure you never see it coming." But before I could begin, something unexpected happened. She called me, crying, saying she needed to confess something. Her voice cracked before I even said hello. "Anna, I did something terrible." I remember holding the phone so tightly that the edges dug into my palm. I stayed silent. I wanted to hear what terrible meant in her dictionary. Maya was always the kind of woman who confessed only when cornered. Sweet, charming, always with a tear ready to win sympathy. That night, her words came out trembling. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. I walked to the window, stared at the reflection of the streetlight on the glass. Calm. Controlled. "You mean he happened?" I said finally. She gasped, the small sound of a trapped animal. "You know?" "I've known for weeks." The silence that followed was thick enough to taste. Then she started crying, loud, ugly sobs that once would have broken me. But now, they sounded like background noise to something much colder moving inside me. "He told me he was leaving you," she whispered between tears. "Really?" I almost laughed. "And when exactly was he planning to do that? Before or after he used both of us to make himself feel powerful?" She kept crying. I let her. Each sob was another thread snapping from the friendship she'd strangled. Then came the part that caught me off guard. "He said you'd understand, that your marriage was already dead." My breath froze. That sentence, "you'd understand," it hit like a blade. Because that's how he justified everything. Make the woman sound broken, so his betrayal sounds like mercy. I ended the call with a lie. "It's fine, Maya. I forgive you." But I didn't hang up before recording the last minute of her guilt-ridden apology. Her sobs, her confession, her voice admitting everything. When the call ended, the silence in the house felt almost sacred. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself the leftover wine, and pressed play again, listening to her voice tremble through the recording. That audio file would later become my weapon. For the next few days, I watched them both pretend. My husband left home in his usual charm, the clean shave, the cologne, the fake smile. Maya stopped calling, thinking she'd bought redemption with her tears. But something inside me had already shifted. Anger was gone. Pity had vanished. All that remained was clarity. I started making lists. Not of what they did to me, but of what they valued most. His career, her reputation, their little web of lies held together by mutual fear of exposure. I didn't need to scream or confront. I only needed to plan. So I waited. I smiled through breakfast, kissed him goodbye. Then I opened a new email account under a fake name. The first message I sent was short. Just 5 words, to his company's anonymous ethics inbox. Your director isn't who he seems. The next morning, his assistant called in a panic. Someone had leaked internal documents from his private laptop, but I hadn't touched it. Not yet. I woke up to the sound of his footsteps. Faster than usual, heavier. He was pacing in the hallway, phone glued to his ear. No, I didn't send anything. Who the hell would have access to my system? I leaned against the doorway, watching him unravel in real time. His shirt was untucked, tie hanging loose, that perfect composure he wore like armor now cracking at the edges. He looked up, startled. Morning, I said softly, masking the satisfaction in my voice. He mumbled something about an emergency at work and stormed out. When the door slammed, I smiled. Just a little, because I knew exactly what had been leaked. It wasn't documents, it was emails. Emails between him and Maya, the ones where they mocked me, where he called me predictable, where she joked about being the upgrade. I'd found those weeks ago, hidden inside his personal backup folder labeled photos. It took one late night, one copied drive, and one quiet transfer to a secure folder on my cloud. I hadn't leaked them. Not yet. But someone else had. Or so he believed. That morning, my plan shifted from patience to precision. Someone at his office must have seen the emails, the same ones I'd prepared to use later. That meant my quiet war had already started before I'd fired a shot. It wasn't me. It wasn't Maya. So who? That question lingered, unsettling. But then I realized it didn't matter. Sometimes fate lends a hand when you've already drawn the map. By noon, he was calling from his office, voice sharp. Did you go through my laptop? I let my voice tremble. Not fear, but performance. Why would I? What's going on? They're investigating a leak. They think it came from my home network. He sounded frantic now, the same man who used to dismiss my every concern as paranoia. I wanted to tell him how ironic it was, being accused of dishonesty for once. Instead, I whispered, I hope it's not serious. He exhaled sharply. Just stay out of my things, okay? And hung up. That S when I opened my hidden folder again and saw something I hadn't before. A subfolder buried deep named M-Plan. It wasn't about me. It was about her. Inside were financial transfers, receipts, and property records. He'd been using her too, manipulating her money, setting up accounts in her name. Maya thought she was winning his heart, but he was quietly draining her savings to fund a business investment. Suddenly, I wasn't just betrayed. I was holding proof of a double betrayal. 2 liars tangled in their own web. I copied every file to a flash drive, labeled it simply truth. Then I slipped it into the same drawer where I kept his forgotten wedding ring. The ring had once symbolized love. Now it symbolized leverage. That night, he came home quiet, suspicious, watching me too closely. Rough day? I asked again, just like before. He nodded slowly. Someone's trying to destroy me. I smiled. Barely. Maybe they already did. Later that night, I received an anonymous text. I know what you found. Let's talk. The message came at 11:47 p.m. A single line. I know what you found. Let's talk. No name. No number saved. Just a link to a private email address. For 10 minutes, I stared at it, heartbeat syncing with the flicker of the bedside lamp. Then, curiosity, or maybe instinct, pushed me forward. I replied, "Who is this?" The response came instantly. Someone who hates them as much as you do. I should have ignored it. I should have deleted the message, gone back to pretending. But something about the wording, calm, measured, like a mirror of my own voice, pulled me in. We started exchanging emails. No names, no photos, just details. They knew about Maya, about my husband, even about the company leak. Whoever they were, they had access to things I hadn't touched. He's been doing this for years, the stranger wrote. You're not the first wife he's lied to. And she's not the first friend he's used. Each sentence was a slow blade turning inside my chest. Over the next few nights, our messages became a strange kind of therapy. They sent me copies of documents I'd never seen, hidden bank transfers, encrypted chat logs, photos of him at other hotels with other women. I'd thought I was his only fool. Turns out, I was just the quietest one. The more I read, the colder I became. My revenge stopped being personal. It became architectural. I didn't want to hurt him anymore. I wanted to erase him. I began constructing the plan like a machine. Step 1, leak proof of his fraud to his company. Not all at once, but in pieces, enough to ignite suspicion. Step 2, expose his affair to Maya's husband, who, conveniently, was also his client. Step 3, make them both turn on each other before either realized I'd lit the match. It wasn't anger guiding me anymore. It was mathematics. Precision. The stranger and I, whoever they were, coordinated everything through a shared encrypted drive. They called themselves K. K never asked for anything personal. Never slipped. Never missed a detail. Sometimes I wondered if K was real at all, or if my mind had split into two. The part that planned and the part that executed. Either way, it worked. Within 2 weeks, whispers began circulating at his office. Audit teams, compliance meetings, panicked messages. He started working late again, except this time, not with her. Alone. Even Maya's calls to me had changed tone. Guilt replaced arrogance. Fear replaced charm. One night she texted, "You're not angry anymore." "Why?" I typed, "Because I already forgave you." Then deleted the word forgave and replaced it with forgot. That lie tasted sweeter than any confession ever could. The trap was set. Every move calculated, every player unknowingly on stage. But on the night I planned to execute the final step, when everything was perfectly aligned, something unexpected shattered my control. My husband came home early, and in his hand was the flash drive labeled Truth. He dropped it on the table, eyes dark. "Funny thing," he said quietly. "This isn't where I left it." He set the flash drive down like it weighed a confession. Lights hummed. The room smelled of aftershave and burnt coffee. I watched his face for the first honest thing it showed in months. Panic. "How did you get this?" he asked, voice small and sharp. He thought fear would make me furious. It didn't. It made my hands steady. "You tell me," I said. His jaw worked. He looked at the ring on the table, then at the drawer where more secrets slept. I picked up the drive like a prop in a play. Cold metal against warm skin. It had my handwriting on the label. Truth. He read it, and for a second I saw the man behind the suit. Tiny. Fragile. He lunged for it. Clumsy. Angry. I stepped back and let him grab at what he thought belonged to him. 3 months of planning condensed into that single surge. He opened the drive on his laptop, fingers shaking now. Files populated the screen. Transactions, receipts, messages. Not just one affair, but the whole architecture of his lies. Evidence with dates and places. Numbers that couldn't be spoken away. "You're insane," he said. "You're dangerous," he added, as if danger were my fault. I sat down at the kitchen island. The amber light made small halos on the countertop. I said nothing. I listened to the sound of him trying to recompose. It was pathetic. That night, I did the first thing that could not be undone. I sent an email, one carefully worded, to the exact people Kay and I had identified 3 weeks ago. Compliance, the board. A lawyer we'd both found through hidden channels. Subject line, urgent. Evidence attached. 2 attachments. 2 file names that would make any reasonable man's life collapse. I watched the minutes pass like beads on a string. Within an hour, his phone rang off the hook. Messages popped, polite and clinical, then sharp. Voices on the other end that used phrases like conflict of interest and internal investigation. He went pale. He left the room. He tried to hide behind corporate jargon. But this was personal now. Maya burst in moments later, breathless, mascara streaking her cheeks. She had the wild, hunted look of someone who'd finally discovered the man she loved was an illusion. "You did this?" she demanded. Her nails scraped the table. Hope and accusation braided together. I smiled once. Not warm, not cruel, precise. "Yes," I said, "but not for the reason you think." She collapsed into the chair, sobbing frantic words that once would have pierced me. Now they sounded small against the machinery I'd set in motion. The first domino fell faster than I expected. His assistant called, shaking. The board scheduled an emergency meeting. A client pulled a contract. Flights were canceled. His email became a courtroom. I found in the chaos a peculiar emptiness. Victory tasted like iced metal. Not sweet, not clean, significant. Outside, a neighbor's dog barked, a single, lonely sound. Inside, the ring on the counter flashed under the lamp. I touched it, felt the cold, and realized the symbol had migrated from love to leverage to anchor. Pattern interrupt. 3 months of planning, 1 impulsive email. Everything changed. He retreated to the back bedroom and slammed the door. Voices leaked through. Blunt. Furious. He shouted my name once. Then silence swallowed him. I pressed my palm to the table where the flash drive lay. A small noise vibrated in my pocket. My phone. A new message from an unknown number. "They knew you had it. Be careful." I read it twice. Then I smiled in a way I hadn't smiled before. Small, careful, dangerous. I had scored the first hit, but the hit had landed on a target I no longer recognized. He wasn't the only one who would hurt, and the first person I hadn't meant to hurt was already bleeding. The next morning, the house was quiet. Unnaturally so, the kind of silence that feels like it's listening. He hadn't slept. His eyes were red, shirt wrinkled, coffee untouched. The phone kept buzzing with calls he didn't answer. Each vibration was another nail in his perfect reputation's coffin. When he finally looked at me, his voice was low. They suspended me. Pending investigation? I didn't pretend to be surprised. That must be difficult. He stared, trying to find the woman he once controlled. She wasn't there anymore. But victory comes with shadows. By noon, Maya showed up again. This time at my door, face pale, trembling. They froze my accounts, she said. Every one of them. He was using my name for offshore transfers. I didn't know. For a brief moment, I almost believed her. Almost. Then I remembered her perfume on his collar, her laughter in those emails. Sympathy flickered and died. I told you, I said quietly, he uses people. It's what he does. She sank to the floor, sobbing, clutching her phone. They're saying I was part of it, that I helped him move the money. That's when I realized the blast radius of my revenge had expanded. My email had triggered a chain reaction, one I hadn't fully predicted. His company didn't just investigate him. They traced every name, every transaction. Maya wasn't collateral anymore. She was evidence. I told myself she deserved it. That betrayal should have consequences. But watching her unravel on my doorstep, something inside me twisted. When she left, I noticed the flash drive was gone from the counter. Panic hit hard, cold and instant. He must have taken it while I was with her. My entire map, every file, every record, was now in his possession. That night, I received another message from Kay. You moved too soon. He's not done yet. Those 6 words sank deeper than any threat, because until that moment, I thought I was the architect, the one pulling strings. But maybe Kay had been directing more than I realized. Maybe I wasn't the only one building a trap. At 2 a.m., headlights washed over the living room walls. His car. He came in quiet, slow, deliberate. He sat across from me. No yelling this time, no pretense. I know it was you, he said simply. And I know you didn't act alone. He slid the flash drive across the table. Tell me who's helping you. For a long moment, I just stared at it. My heart beat so hard I could hear it in my ears. He leaned forward. You think you won? You've destroyed both of us. I almost said he was wrong, but he wasn't. I could feel the truth in the pit of my stomach. The moral ground I once stood on was long gone. He stood, picked up his keys, and walked toward the door. They'll ruin me, but before they do, I'll make sure they ruin you too. When the door closed, the silence returned. Heavy, breathing. That's when my phone lit up again. A video file from Kay, title, The Real Reason He Married You. I hesitated, thumb hovering over play, but I had to know. The video loaded, and the first face I saw wasn't his. It was mine, sitting in a hotel room, talking to someone I didn't remember meeting. The video flickered to life, grainy, time-stamped 2 years ago. My heart stuttered. There I was on screen, sitting across a dim hotel room, nervous, fidgeting with my ring. Opposite me sat a woman, blonde hair, calm eyes. She looked familiar, painfully familiar. And then I realized why. It was Maya. She was younger, sharper. The tone between us wasn't hostile. It was conspiratorial. He thinks he's marrying me for my innocence, I heard myself say. But we'll both get what we want. The words punched the air from my lungs. My voice, but a version of me I couldn't recognize. Confident, calculating, cold. I hit pause. The silence in my living room roared. For a long time, I couldn't breathe. The reality twisted. Maybe this wasn't just revenge. Maybe it was history coming full circle. Maybe I had once been the manipulator. Another message followed from Kay. You forgot who you were. This was never his game. It was yours. My mind spun. Who was Kay? Someone from before my memory blurred? Or someone who'd been watching both of us? Puppets tangled in the same invisible strings. I pressed play again. Maya's voice. And when it's done? Me. He'll pay for everything he's ever done, even if he doesn't know it yet. The screen froze there. The realization struck like a slap. This wasn't his revenge story. It was mine, written long before I remembered starting it. All the breadcrumbs I'd followed, the anonymous messages, the flash drive, the perfectly timed leaks, they weren't traps set for him. They were reminders, pulling me back to finish something I had started. Kay wasn't an accomplice. Kay was insurance. I sat there shaking, replaying every choice, every emotion. Had I ever really loved him? Or was love just the mask I wore to get close enough to destroy him? Outside, thunder rumbled, a low, distant growl. My reflection in the dark window stared back at me, the same eyes, but no longer sure who they belonged to. I opened the last message from Kay. The circle closes when truth is accepted. You don't destroy the monster, you were the monster, and that's why he chose you. I closed my eyes. A strange calm settled over me. Not peace, not guilt, just clarity. When dawn came, I walked to the ocean. The flash drive felt heavy in my hand, a small piece of metal carrying the weight of every lie. I threw it into the waves, watched it vanish beneath the surface. The sea didn't judge. It just swallowed secrets. Behind me, a phone buzzed. Unknown number. Just one sentence on the screen. "We're not done, eh?" The wind carried the faintest echo of laughter. His, hers, or mine. I couldn't tell anymore. The game wasn't over. It had simply evolved. And for the first time, I didn't know if I was still the avenger or the avenged. In revenge, there's no hero or villain. Just mirrors breaking in the dark.